We now enter into a communal spiritual practice of deep listening. We still our minds, relax our bodies, and enter into a time of communal silent listening. We do this because silence is a favorable condition for the soul to speak and be heard. We take this time to listen to where we feel pain in our lives and what that says about us. We take time to listen for where we feel joy in our lives. We take time to listen to where there is or might be an invitation in our lives to move into a new endeavor. After a few moments of collective silence, I will ring the gong, and anyone that would care to come forward at that time to share a heartfelt joy or sorrow is invited to come forward to the microphone. And then, once everyone has had a chance to speak, I will light a last candle to represent the joys and concerns that remain in our hearts.
Good morning. Good to see all of you again. It's been 6 months, I think, since I've been here, so it is good indeed to see you again. Today, I want to begin the first of a pair of services, which I'll continue next week, devoted to the personal life and thinking of Ralph Waldo Emerson, one of the truly original and truly influential figures of American life, and a critically important Unitarian for what he contributed as a Unitarian and as a Unitarian minister to our movement. In particular, I want to delve into Emerson's personal background, including his family of origin, in order to show, picking up on the work of an Emerson scholar by the name of Lewis Leary, in order to show how Emerson's philosophy and teachings are directly tied in some interesting and surprising ways to his own personal experience, to his own personal lived biography. And then toward the end, I'll try to tie Emerson's story back into our own lives. So, to begin, I'd like to share 4 brief anecdotes from a large collection of anecdotes about Emerson, which I hope will help you to at least begin to get a feeling for Mr. Emerson, or Waldo Emerson as he was known, to get a feeling for him as a person, as a personality, a wonderful, quirky, humble, long-suffering, and loving personality. And admittedly, the kind over the years of whom myths are sometimes made. So, anecdote number 1. Emerson, of course, was a popular orator in his day, usually anyway. Once, however, he addressed a literary society during the commencement exercises in Middlebury, Vermont. When he finished, the president of the literary society asked a local minister to conclude the exercises with a prayer. Obligingly, the minister went to the pulpit, which Emerson had just left, and fervently prayed, "Oh, how we beseech thee, O Lord, to deliver us from hearing any more such transcendental nonsense as we have just listened to from this sacred desk." Now, after the benediction, Emerson, of whom it is said that he never spoke ill of anyone, reportedly turned to a man next to him and remarked with his characteristic gentleness about this minister who had prayed over them. And he said, "Well, he seems a very conscientious man." And he went about his peaceful way. Anecdote number 2. George Minot, a farmer who lived in Concord, Massachusetts, where Emerson lived, saw Mr. Emerson pause in thought in the road before Mr. Minot's house. Mr. Minot said to his nephew, "Now, Charlie, that man out there, he ain't like most other men. He's like Enoch. He walks with God and he talks to his angels." Anecdote number 3. Several noted ministers and philosophers were gathered in Emerson's study one day when a man drove up into his yard with a load of wood. "Excuse me," said Mr. Emerson, "we have to attend to these things as if they were real." And finally, anecdote number 4. Emerson lectured regularly at Faneuil Hall in Boston. A newspaper writer once noticed a washerwoman who always attended his lectures. He asked her one day if she understood them. "Not a word," she replied, "but I just love to see him standing up there thinking everybody else is just as good as he is." This concludes our reading. Mary?